Welcome to this 15-minute Pilates class focused on fostering deeper connections to your center body. You won't need any additional equipment for these Pilates core exercises. If you're ready to get started, join me on the mat. Let's go ahead and begin laying onto your back on your mat, bending through the knees, feet down, and prior to moving, just allow yourself to focus where is your body on the mat, the heavy points, the light points, and you can do a few rocks like I am. Do your own rocks though that feel good for you. Don't feel like you have to stay in stillness right away. So this is going to be a very isolated class, and we just don't want to feel like we have to hold tension to find the isolated movement. As you continue breathing, notice the weight in the pelvis, how it's most likely pretty heavy. The lower spine may be a little lifted. The middle and upper spine perhaps a little bit heavier. Then let the shoulders just drape heavy on the mat, maybe the arms and hands. Every exhale, you just let your ribs soften into or towards the back of the body, especially if you tend to flare your ribs like I do. So we just want to be mindful, rib cage soft on the exhale. Now, as you continue breathing, we're going to engage single leg, but keep and maintain pelvis and spine really still. Bring one leg up to tabletop position. Take a few breaths here. And we're still sensing equal weight in the pelvis, continuing to stay incredibly stable, incredibly still. And now pull thigh in towards your chest and return back, knee over hip. And just do this a few more times. First movement here, nothing too big. Really ensuring it's isolated into the hip movement here. So knee is pulling in closer towards you, but the pelvis and spine staying so still. Now keep thigh tabletop and leg arcs down to the floor. Bring the leg up. I don't care how much the leg arcs down to the floor. Trying to keep the knee a little bit more still, so we're still in the movement through the hip. So it's okay if the hip and the thigh start to experience some work. They have to work to hold this position and to move the leg. But really allow your focus to be centered on center body, not moving, finding maybe a little bit more connection and support as the leg is arcing down and up. Now, next time leg arcs up, keep it here and reach the leg in front of you to a straighter position and bend. It may go all the way straight, it may not. And you can definitely play with taking the leg higher or taking the leg lower. It's not about the height, it's really about your sensations. So keeping pelvis, spine just really still as the leg is moving. Next time the thigh moves in, keep it there and go back into knee pulls in and return. Knee pulls in, return. Knee pulls in without the low back smooshing down more. So your back may be just naturally heavier on the mat than mine. That's okay. You honor your natural curves. We just don't want to feel it press heavier as the thigh moves in for this moment. One last time. Very nice. Foot down, switch sides. Let the opposite leg lift. And again, take a few breaths. You're still feeling equal weight in pelvis. Do you need to make any adjustments? Then pull thigh in, return. Why I said for this moment with the low spine going on the mat is because sometimes when our knee pulls into the chest, we will have our low spine lengthen on the mat. Maybe for more ab-focused work when we're in an upper ab curl. Perhaps when we're doing a more restorative class. So it's not a bad thing, but just not our focus for right now. Now leg arcs down, bring it up. Remember the toes may not tap the floor and that's okay. Go more for sensation and go with your speed. So you can slow this down. I'm noticing on this side I want to slow it down a little bit more. Just keep breathing deeply. Soften front body to back body every breath out. Now we'll keep the leg up this next time and take the leg away from you, return. Remember, leg can go higher to the ceiling, lower to the floor, it doesn't matter. It's about your sensation, what benefits you now. That's not always going to be doing what I do or the most challenging option. Deep breathing, deep connections. 2 more times. 2. We'll go back into our first movement where we pull your thigh in and then return. Pull thigh in, return. And even though torso is staying really still right now, there's still an ease here. We don't want to feel a lot of tension to keep the torso still. That wouldn't feel great right now or after the session. One last time. Both feet come down to the mat. If it's comfortable, bring your feet and legs completely together. So there's a gentle squeeze in on your legs. Now notice the weight in your feet and the pelvis. We want to transfer weight more to our center body and allow your feet to become lighter on the mat, but they're not going to lift, just lighter. Lighter and lighter with your feet on the mat, so they're not as heavy. You can barely feel them against the mat, and you decide how much there is with lightness there. It could be just a little bit, an intention. It could be a little bit more where imagine a piece of paper sliding underneath the feet, so there's a slight hover. But what we're trying to foster is deeper front center connection in particular right now. So the abs are working more. Exhale, maybe you find deeper connection to front body. Feet so light. And if you're feeling a little shaking, that's okay. I'm feeling that little shaking motion too, because usually we bypass this light position. But maybe with these shakes, it's like, yes, this is beneficial. You don't have to go full tabletop. Right now, legs and center doing a lot of work. Another breath. Very nice. And now lay onto the side of your body on your mat. We'll actually come up onto your forearm. Knees can be bent or take your legs in a different position. Now slouch. So this is not what we want. And find that your nice high lift. Let's do that one more time. Find the slouch where the ribs just really arc down or collapsed in the shoulder. Now find the nice high lift. Now savor your high lift. Hand can be on pelvis or behind head. What feels nice right now. And exhale, lift hips up. We'll stay up for some breaths here. Breathing in, breathing out. At any time you can lower down, take a little break, and then come right back up again. It may also just be the intention to lift, so maybe you're more in this down phase in the hover, really getting underneath armpit and side waistline to lift. Keep breathing in and out deeply. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. Now your next breath, lower down and keep the pelvis maybe a little bit lighter on the mat than it typically is. So we're not sinking all the way down. We still have a nice lift, and just open thigh, return. Open thigh, return. We'll come back to this in phase 2 with the band and a slightly different option as well. So just find this open and close. And this is a nice little rest before we go second side. 2 more times. 2 and 1. Pause, keep lifting underside, straighten your top leg, knee stays parallel. Stay true to yourself, lift thigh up a little bit lower. Now if your pelvis stays long, your leg stays parallel, it is a small lift. You see how my leg is not lifting very high? We want to focus and honor on keeping your lift, pelvis staying still, so long waistline, and then wherever the leg goes, it goes. So it's not this, right? We lift up, find that lift and control. Just 2 more times. Very nice. And now switch out your sides. So second side, just to feel what we're not after, slouch on down, and then find your high lift. And slouch on down, and find your high lift. Maintain that, savor that, really find up. Pelvis starts to lift up, up, up. And keep it up, or you can lower right back down, and you can do more of a lifting, lowering. But right now, encouraging trying to lift up a little bit more whenever that's right for you. And sometimes hand behind head just encourages us to press the head into our hand so we don't end up here. So we're still maintaining natural curves of spine, wherever the hand is, wherever it feels nice. And keep thinking up. Even if you're going down and up, focus on your up and then slowly down. Focusing on your up. So you can either move it like I just showed or you stay in stillness for another breath or two. Very nice lower pelvis down. It just grazes the mat. Think light so we're not heavy here. Really light. Top thigh opens and close and open. Just a few more times. Remember, stay lifted. Keep pelvis as still as we possibly can. Even as we straighten the leg stays parallel, lift up and down. So it's a small lift. It's not very high. So we're trying not to do this. This isn't great for our focus today. Isn't a wonderful option overall. So stay lifted, lifted. Leg parallel just a few more times. Very nice. Now let's come on to hands and knees on the mat. Shoulders right over hands, knees underneath pelvis. And squeeze in and up on the mat just slightly. And notice the curves of your spine here. Continuing breathing in and out, just natural curves of the spine. Honor those as you tuck through the toes of one foot and slide that leg away from you to straight. So the foot slides along your mat. Then bring the knee right back underneath the hip. Now, as you continue, we're really trying to focus on rest of the body, actually. This moving leg is secondary to emphasizing draw in and up with your supporting knee, so we aren't shifting our weight into our hip and doing this movement. That wouldn't really engage through center the way that we're after right now. Now keep your supporting knee drawing in and up as moving thigh pulls in towards the hands and then return just right back under hip. So in, return. We already did this laying on your back. This is your hand and knee option. Spine staying really still. You may want to be aware if you tend to arch in your lower back a lot, that you're not doing that right now, letting the abdomen sink down to the mat. One last time. Very nice. Knees down, reset, take a breath. Natural curves of spine. You may want to rock off the hands for a moment as well. Squeeze in and up. Flex through the toes of the opposite foot. Press back. So the moving leg is obviously moving back and then in, but find your focus and emphasis on supporting thigh, that we're not shifting our weight into the other hip to do this motion. And it could be very subtle. Next time thigh pulls in, we'll keep it pulling in, return. Keep it pulling in, return. So back to that knee to hand, the knee just right next to opposite thigh. Very nice. Both knees down, rock off the hands. And notice right now, how are you feeling? Was that just enough for today? Or are you wanting to take maybe a few more deep breaths and then go back into phase 1 once again? If you'd like, move on with me to phase 2 and 3 inside of the Trifecta Pilates membership. I hope you have a beautiful day and can join me on the mat soon.